Anh đang rương mai cả không? Mai ở tế.
Nhưng mà tôi đang ngon.
Lập ấp đi tình thật nè. Nơi thầy dây mà bên mình là ai thế nè. Trời dây với tình nghĩa nè. Tranh mau bên tâm là anh. Chà mơ nhóm ca bị đây nhóm slap bia bớt nhóm mình con đủ mùi. Tại con muốn slap ở hai tờ bớt.
Just follow me. Hey. Oi, 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 oi. You should go home, little man. You need to be going home. You got a chest infection too. Oi, chul suet. That's his house there. Charlie, go and help it there, win. Oi. Who's that? Oi, Kuntia, what are you doing here? How do I out CC by? Straight ahead, this is where a lot of the drugs are being sold. There was a number of arrests recently, so it makes us very unpopular down here, especially night times. But I don't know what else you do. If someone's going to send one of your students onto a drug binge and into rehab, and I mean, have no mercy. Today was a long day. It started at 6 a.m. and it's still going. It'll probably finish about 10 tonight. My goodness, there's so much going on. I was president of Fox International. I finished my contract at 20th Century Fox, and back then Sony Pictures had offered me a better job. I didn't need more money, but you get in this hamster wheel of always wanting to get more, get better. So I accepted the job at Sony and took 5 weeks off. And I came through Phnom Penh. I don't believe in coincidences, but I met someone and I asked where was the worst poverty, a place where no one else was really helping. And I had no idea what was in store. I went to the Sting Ming Che garbage dump and it was the single most impactful moment in my life.
Nên cái thang mau bị phun bị khát bằng áo khăn cỏ.
Từ rồi mẹ nó khơi bỏ na cái trâu lấy dương rồi là xí ấy và của chúng nó cứ dương họ bên ấy đang so lấy thế của những nơi tôi ở khơi bỏ na mới lõ cái dương rồi xí vậy và thường mấy ở tại có pe dương đào và ở chỉ vật dương rùa giờ khó tha nó miên là nam máy rồi ở nam máy cũng khao tại rùa và
con ngay cọp cùng đăng con ấy con chơi vô tập cọp được nhưng cũng ở thẻ cần tập bay ấy tới dương vô tập cọp tới cũng ấy thẻ cần ấy.
It's like the apocalypse. You're looking at 11 hectares of stinking garbage. The temperatures there are 50, 55 degrees Celsius all the time because, the sun is already hot. But the ground is always burning because as it decomposes, gives off methane, and methane burns. And there are even actually sinkholes you can't really see that are just like, and if you step in there, it's horrendous. You can sink right down. And there was 1,500 children, roughly, either living on the dump, so they collect garbage, it's trade it in, get some rice for that day, and go to sleep right there on the garbage dump, wake up, and do it all over again. And I met a child that day who was 9 years old, in a terrible mess, working and living there with her mother and a younger sister. The younger sister was seriously ill with typhoid. I arranged it for her to get a room, to get the 9-year-old into school and get the youngest sibling into hospital. It really struck me that for a relatively small...
ចាប់ដើមពីនងមកសប្តាហ៍ថ្ងៃហ្នឹងក៏បានគាត់ជួយទិញតុកតុក
I thought that because I was being paid so much, I could keep my Hollywood job and send my excess money to Cambodia to keep children and families in relative safety and have the children in school. In theory, it's a good plan. There was one incident which reaffirmed everything, and we had a very big film coming out with a very big actor whose name I can't say, and I'd flown with him into Asia. He was set up to do all the publicity. Everything was good. So I flew down to Phnom Penh, went straight to the garbage dump where there were some children, all under the age of 8 years old, who were basically dying. It's not too dramatic a term. They had typhoid, and I didn't know what to do. My cell phone rang. The actor and refused to get on the private jet, and he was really angry. Our office had put on a PlayStation game, and he only played Xbox. Standing on this garbage dump, and I remember it's crystal clear, he said, "You know, Scott, my life wasn't meant to be this difficult." And that was my epiphany moment. I realised that that was such an extreme example that I was doing the right thing. And I went back and I resigned. No, I had trouble getting out of my contract, because when you talk to the bosses and chairman of the studio and you say, "I'm going to quit, I'm going to move to a garbage dump in Cambodia," they thought I was going to go to Paramount Studios instead, so they wouldn't let me out of my contract. So I had to, actually took quite some time to get out.
Ôn ta chạy từ nè nó stray mình chụp hiệp lão là lại từ nó ta thuần hơi đấy chân nơi pe là mặc hai cả là ôn thời cả lọc màu vinh đập bay vô con mà chạy nắm đập bay chả con bơi nhông mà ca ôn tì khai em từ nằm pin ôn nó buồn khai em ôn trai từ nằm pin từ tam khâu nằm pin ban lại cừu chui thay dùm ra câu nên là mẹ rắm thay bọc mẹ đai pu tại bờ dương admin mặt thiệp chua te kê không nâu đi kế miền nâu chẳng trộm nâu
khó nghĩ được quá khờ ra mấy vậy đi chơi tê madam Trabian Cambodia bằng thôi đi ai ô lùi chọn tiền đấy
bà ram đây nâu này chẳng chua te kê chẳng phải ngày na kê đánh chân tấu admin lại nâu ram lại cùng
ធ្វើការបញ្យល់អញ្ចឹងមានបន្ទាប់ពីសម្រាលហើយគឺខាងយើងផ្ដល់នៅកញ្ចប់ម្ដាយនិងកូនមកកញ្ចប់នេះអត់អីទេមួយថ្ងៃពីរទៀតវានឹងជ្រុះហើយប៉ុន្តែបើសិនជាវាមានសើមឬក៏មានខ្ទុះមានអីគឺត្រឡប់ទៅជួបខាងខ្ញុំវិញណា
គាត់បានជួលមួយខែថ្លៃដី$15ទឹកភ្លើងទៀតយើងអស់តែ$30ទេហ្នឹងគាត់ជួយកាត់បន្ថយយើងខ្លះគាត់បានធ្វើផ្ទះនេះឲ្យហ្នឹងគាត់កាត់បន្ថយច្រើនណាស់ផ្ទះនេះគេទិញគេធ្វើឲ្យយើងនៅយើងឲ្យលុយសោះថ្ងៃឲ្យលុយចាស់ដីទេទឹកភ្លើងយើងបង់ដែរហ្នឹងហើយទីមួយគឺ កូនរៀនបានមកនៅផ្ទះនេះគាត់ជួយក្នុងមួយថ្ងៃមួយសប្តាហ៍គាត់ឲ្យ30000ខ្មែរ30000ខ្មែរអញ្ចឹងមួយខែអស់120,000ខ្មែរ
The scary part too for me is that we've got children who are, goodness, 6 months old, 2 years old. If I am to keep the promise to get them all the way through school, I mean, that's another 20 years worth of funding needed, even if something happens to me. If I get, goodness knows, hit by a bus, for example, I need to feel sure that the funding would still come in. You like Georgette? A number of the children were abandoned here, especially children with developmental issues, and they were left on our doorstep. Well over half have been through various forms of either abuse, physical abuse, neglect. Some were abandoned, not being fed, and well over 50%. And in some cases, the parents try as hard as they can, but just can't make enough money. In this little one, and this man, fortunately they were asleep, so they don't really remember. A disgruntled man who worked at a construction site broke in late at night and chopped all of the family up with an axe. You can see still very scarred here. The Child Protection Unit was set up specifically to address the problem of child abuse across Cambodia.
ពេលខ្លះខ្ញុំទៅធ្វើការអញ្ចឹងទៅខ្ញុំរកលុយមកប្រាក់ចំណូលបានតិចតួចអីចឹងទៅប៉ាម៉ាក់គាត់មកអញ្ចឹងគាត់ឃើញយើងទៅមួយថ្ងៃហើយមិនក៏បានប្រាក់ចំណូលមកតិចចឹងចាអញ្ចឹងគាត់ម្ដងគាត់ឆ្ងល់យើងគាត់គិតថាយើងដើរលេងអញ្ចឹងម្ដងគាត់បាយគាត់អីចឹងបច្ចុប្បន្ននិយាយទៅរាល់ថ្ងៃហ្នឹងខ្ញុំធ្វើការនៅ CPU ភាគច្រើនគឺប៉ះតាក់ទងនឹងករណីរំលោភចារំលោភគឺច្រើនជាងចាហើយចំពោះខ្ញុំចូលពីអារម្មណ៍របស់ខ្ញុំបើសិនបើខ្ញុំទៅជួបក្មេងហើយក្មេងដែលមានបញ្ហាអញ្ចឹង
We have 4 previous CCF students, previous Slum garbage dump kids, who have now had life-changing intervention. Srainin, she meets a child on their worst day and holds that child's hand through the whole judicial process until that child's ready to walk by themselves again.
3 ឆ្នាំអាហ្នឹងពេលខ្លះគាត់ពិបាកនឹងការនិយាយមួយយើងចាហើយមួយទៀតគាត់ចេះនិយាយចាក្មេងខ្លះគឺអញ្ចឹងដោយករណីខ្ញុំទៅកំពង់ស្ពឺអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំប៉ះករណីមួយរំលោភក្មេងទៅ4ឆ្នាំហើយអញ្ចឹងយើងមិនដឹងថារកវិធីសាស្ត្រមិនខ្មិចដើម្បីឲ្យគាត់នឹងឆ្លើយមួយយើងអីមួយយើងប៉ុន្តែយើងបាននិយាយលេងបានលួមលងគាត់បាន3លួមលងនិយាយពីនេះនិយាយពីនោះឲ្យគាត់សប្បាយយកតុកតាឲ្យគាត់មើលអីប៉ុន្តែគាត់និយាយមួយយើងឯង
Trey Poe is our legal manager. Well, we ensure that when that child goes to court, they have free legal representation.
បញ្ហាសម្រាប់ខ្ញុំនៅពេលដែលខ្ញុំធ្វើការនៅ CPU ហ្នឹងតើតើនឹងករណីផ្សេងៗហ្នឹងគឺករណីមួយដែលធ្វើខ្ញុំរៀងពិបាកខ្លាំងគឺតើតើនឹងការនៅពេលដែលក្មេងរងការរំលោភបំពានហើយមានករណីពីរក្នុងហ្នឹងការរំលោភបំពានខាងផ្លូវភេទរបស់គាត់មួយទី2គឺករណីសម្លាប់ដែលយើងធ្វើឲ្យយើងមានអារម្មណ៍មួយថាពេលខ្លះយើងទទួលយកស្ថានភាពហ្នឹងពិបាកពេលខ្លះយើងគិតថាពួកគាត់ក្មេងខ្លាំងចំការដូចមានរឿងករណីខ្លះក្មេងតាមអាយុ2ឆ្នាំឬក៏1ឆ្នាំទេឬក៏មិនតាន់ដល់1ឆ្នាំផងពួកគាត់រងនៅការសម្លាប់អញ្ចឹងជារឿងមួយដែលជារឿងមួយដែលជាធ្វើឲ្យយើងមានអារម្មណ៍មួយថា
It would be hard to say which one was the most difficult to investigate. I think the recent rape and torture of the little 2-year-old, which was a viral video, was uploaded to the internet and went viral. We've had to sit down and watch all 48. And that's been very difficult. As a father, hearing a child crying and screaming in pain, it's horrendously difficult. So that has been tough to do that job, but we had to do it. We had to go through the evidence. This work is difficult. You don't do this type of work and expect every day to be rosy, but it's also very, very rewarding.
Three Peaks, the older sister, so she takes care of her, picks her up every night after school, feeds her, makes sure she's safe, and she goes to school, public school, CCF school. She's a busy young lady. Nick here, for example, used to stay here, but I found even though the house is a little more, there's much more risk there. There's a sense of being when they're back in their community with friends around, relatives. You know, the parents aren't very present, but she's much more contented. You can see it in her eyes. Hey, come on, Hey, babe, how are you? You get some food, okay? We nearly lost this one twice. She was very, very sick. First with malnutrition and tuberculosis. Just want to be a little bit careful here. There's some drug sales. A lot of people are a little bit dysfunctional here. So just follow closely behind there. In the evenings, everyone's at home, so you get to see the families, the kids, who's being looked after, who's not. How is she? Pet, yeah? You can see hydrocephalus is when the fluid starts to build on the brain. It's unable to drain, so they put a stint in to help the blood flow down. Son Sam Nang, lucky, huh? I'm not so sure about that. Yeah, we had about 90% of the kids in school. The final 10% couldn't go because they were living in very dysfunctional families, had to look after siblings or their homes. So we built these schools in the worst slum areas. So basically we took the schools to where the children were. I was 5 years old and my parents decided to move from Scotland to Australia because we're in a very poor area. There wasn't a lot of job prospects. So we moved to Australia. I had asthma from almost the time I arrived. I left school when I was young, never finished high school. Any employer that took me on would get half my salary paid because I was considered chronically unemployed. And the very first interview on my very first day was with an organisation that had drive-in movie theatres. I'm good, how are you? And so essentially I worked up the corporate ladder from being the office assistant, eventually becoming the president of 20th Century Fox International in Hollywood. Lots of stages in between. Go Sakun! So I had everything. The house in Brentwood, Porsche, boat, SUV, dogs, actress girlfriend, everything. So, you know, you learn that you can have everything and have nothing. And I know the correct answer is no. I don't miss anything, but I do. 2 years ago, one of the children had gone missing. They hadn't shown up for school, and the parents weren't really cooperating in getting them to school. So I was plodding through this awful garbage area. While I was doing that, all my friends were at the Academy Awards, and I almost felt sorry for myself. You know what I miss? I miss my boat, and I miss my home. So there are days I miss all that. The bigger question is about regrets, and I don't have any regrets. You know, it'd be fearful to think I would still be in the business and not have found this, or better still, created this.
Happy birthday, Pascal.
No, happy birthday, Stray Noel, Stray Nick. Make a wish. I never counted on the emotional connections. You know, these children are, some of them are really like my own kids, and I don't think they wouldn't be able to cope. They've had so much abandonment, rejection, I just couldn't leave them. Yeah, happy birthday. Our landmark project is the Neeson Cripps Academy. It's going to be a building that very much focuses on science, technology, engineering, maths. There'll be chemistry labs, biology labs, maths, technology, engineering, the whole STEM range. It'll be the most advanced in the area, and it's this beauty that it's on the land where we first started out, where I first started here 12 years ago. And it'll be, of course, available to any of the poor kids in this area. And you're going to go there. 10 years. This is where you're going to go. 10 more years. And you'll be there soon too.
này là speed mà 300 lưỡi nè video nó muốn đặng đã speed thử vô vì muốn đã thử tham video nó anh cắt bên đây mình còn anh trong cắt tam chấm riêng đưa cái ta tam mình ta ở chơi mình tịnh mà tao ăn lê về xa không ai ăn là so không ai có ăn là trẻ xong bây phía xa còn ai có nhung mặt trẻ phòng phía xa không ai có giờ trẻ ăn rồi còn ta nó bây giờ vô ăn cho ăn cá dương trẻ ăn phía xa không ai ấy khăn dương trẻ ăn phía xa không ai khăn háo dương thay mình chơi phía xa cái cứ xa ăn lê tiền nó bên năng háo dương trẻ ở đây vô mình ai trẻ dương bài chỉ trẻ chẳng hỏi nó bên năng ấy nhung cái thằng nghĩ bà sân chi mà đây ở phục bà nhóm mà tốt cứ con là ngúng có trẻ so cho người ta có trẻ so chẳng hỏi ban cô miền ca lục ba chân hỏi dương cô vô việc qua tham hay lấy như bà sân chia nhung sông on cao ôn chối hay ôn quạt che hay tới quạt ai chùm nét ba quát ai ngay khỏi tới rồi xin cho mày bà nè và ai rồi xin cho mày bà nè ấy vì nó ấy vì muốn dương nó nơi mình toán cho on cá vô hiên thì vô phải mai với này mai con thải cô không mà vô lái nhá hiên vô đi bên này trắng nơi phía đại dương nó on cá cái biển ăn thua cho mấy ở chỉ nét đặc nôm chẳng hỏi phép chỉ nghiệp nó mà để thua dương với phép là hán tới dưới mùa đại phục bà dương chỉ phải xét dưới mùa phục dương nét này sầu vắng được bây giờ có sầu vắng có nắng còn hai nắng dưới phép mà dương này bên nắng ở đây giống như là cá dưới thà ở nhung sài người ấy giống như mà nít cho cá bất đại nhung lót thua trong phù hợp thà ở nhung sài người ấy lại phép con che phép con cho hay phép thà dương phong à trôi con vậy từ xa con thà anh ngô nhung anh được anh không mổ xin cho phụ nhung mũi mai mà nhưng mà che rồi thì xa chân mình thấy nhung và sân chiều ấy chụp xe ăn tích một xa chết kịp anh thật là chết lâu khôi này là có thể chết khi mà mình đại nhung có tha có trong nơi tâm mình chơi trong tiết tê vô cả lái trong cổ phọ cái lái nâng chỉ cái lái môi đã crack hay môi tiết quạt ở trong cái chỉ vứt bạc quạt nó tập phân năng tê trên mình sọc á quạt trong từ nơi sọc vinh quạt thay vào trong từ nơi sọc mình là thấm tẹt tôi môi nơi của bạn này và trong cái pe nắng này nhom nó khơi trắng nhom của man chụp đam lứ và lư con vậy thì chơi kia nhá nhom của man xong lôi tục từ ở đây quạt đăng trong từ xong lôi tục hơi của man ở lấy đi đọcไปbán thua rương thông đấy dưới của man lôi sờn dưới của man xong lôi tục ở trong tới dưới của man mà đo lấy nhưng man thua tè quạt môi nó sọc môi và tè không copy non nhưng thua quạt chun quá đó hayในที่นี้ได้คือnhom sang xong hơi tay việc toàn hơi đấy nó soแต่ประกันได้យើងសាងសង់បានជាសាពោឯងនៅសល់តែប្រកាន់ដៃទេហើយកន្លែងនេះយើងនឹងធ្វើជាបន្ទប់ដូចខាងនេះអញ្ចឹងខ្ញុំនឹងធ្វើជាបន្ទប់របស់ខ្ញុំហើយខាងនេះវិញយើងធ្វើកន្លែងយើងទទួលភ្ញៀវហើយខាងក្នុងវិញយើងមានដាក់កន្លែងជាកន្លែងសម្ភារៈដូចជាកៅអៅដូចជាស្អីផ្សេងបាទហើយនៅក្នុងប្រទេសកម្ពុជាគឺយើងខែឈររបស់យើងគឺយើងត្រូវដាក់កន្លែងជំនាញផ្ទះហើយនឹងកន្លែងព្រះអង្គបាទហើយផ្ទះនេះយើងនឹងធ្វើជាបន្ទប់មួយសម្រាប់បងប្អូនស្រីដែលគាត់មកលេងស្រុកកំណើតយើងនឹងធ្វើបន្ទប់សម្រាប់ដាក់គាត់ហើយរូបនេះគឺរូបការ Daddy ស្គុតរបស់ខ្ញុំស្គុត Neeson កាខ្ញុំខែហ្នឹងខ្ញុំទៅបរៀនក្មេងបរៀនសិស្សនៅអង្គការមួយទីកម្ពុជាគឺនៅតំបន់សម្បុកចាប់ហើយរូបមួយនេះគឺរូបខ្ញុំកាខ្ញុំទៅអាមេរិកបាទនេះគឺឆ្នាំមុនប្រហែលជាឆ្នាំខ្ទង់2013ខ្ញុំទៅសហរដ្ឋអាមេរិកដើម្បីទៅរក fundraising សម្រាប់ជួយអង្គការប៉ុន្តែដោយសារតែវាស្បុកពីពេកវាមើលទៅហើយទាំងអស់នេះខ្ញុំពិតជាសប្បាយចិត្តមែនទែនបើនិយាយទៅមូលដ្ឋានភាពដែលខ្ញុំសប្បាយចិត្តបំផុតគឺខ្ញុំបានសង់ផ្ទះដែលធំមួយនេះសម្រាប់ឪពុកម្ដាយរបស់ខ្ញុំហើយខ្ញុំនឹងខំថាខ្ញុំនឹងធ្វើឲ្យក្តីសម័យរបស់ខ្ញុំនៅខ្លាចជាការពិតមួយទៀតគឺខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យផ្ទះនេះវាកាន់តែស្អាតជាងនឹងទៅទៀត
We've got a formula, a model here that's remarkable. We've got absentee rates that went from 52% at the local schools, and we're running at under 4%, which is better than any Western country. Maternal death rate used to be 8%. We've never lost a mother. 1,100 births, 7 years, we've never lost a mother. The ideal would be that someone could take the model and they can replicate it. The question is, and it's a good one, is that if it's not me there with the same passion, drive and crazy as I am, would it work? Would it still work? It's been 12 really hard years. I'm happy to... Not happy, I'm more... I want to stay here.